Mina, we are recording. Hey, welcome to the channel, everybody. Welcome. Talk is a relative. Today we're going to be chat. Actually, episode 3 was good, guys. What did you guys think about episode 3? I enjoyed it. I think we it was a good episode. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was really good. Um, it was smooth, man. Smooth sailing. You can listen to it when you're high, even for those who like to get high.
You saying
Which
deep
we know it's
things.
majority. Which there's a weak pandemic, guys, happening. Too many people
A
are
weak
getting high these
pandemic.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I mean, I
yeah,
still can't get. I can maybe I can get someone doing the what you call, when they eat the weed and whatever.
the
But the
or
one where you
microdose.
smoking
edibles.
it, oh, that things,
Mm.
things. Oh, hey,
The edibles, woody muffins, and all of that stuff. It's just
Yeah,
that you don't notice it up until it starts to kick you. That hey, man,
hey. Yeah,
you've
no,
there's
consumed
something weird.
something.
the edibles are too much. When you hit that thing, oh, I think it can hit you for 8 hours.
Yeah, the
That's
high
not
from
that.
that thing is crazy.
Mm.
Hey, the high from that thing, hey, it has injured people and put them in hospital. Some.
Exactly. Yo,
A lot, not
remember
some, a lot.
remember in high school when those guys were selling space cookies and people ended up seeing their grandmother. Hey,
Ah,
people got in trouble that time. Yo, people ended up in hospital
eh,
because people were seeing grandmothers,
Yeah,
Baba, dead grandmothers.
eh,
that's the only thing that actually got them in trouble, if I have to be honest.
it
The
was.
fact that some people ended up in hospital. Because
Exactly.
normally, okay, let me just say that got them in that kind of trouble. Because
Yeah,
normally, you just deal with your normal suspensions and then like life goes
exactly.
on.
What
But
what
But
that's
we
what.
warned them, Baba. We warned them, though. We warned them to sell to, don't sell to certain people.
That's the thing.
and the funny thing is that the people who ended up in hospital are the people who you don't expect to be eating space cookies. Like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
they
the
were
problem.
forward.
Yeah.
That's why I said don't
what
sell to inexperience.
what
Ah,
kills me is when we're in class. You know what's the worst part? That day, that same day, when we're in class, it was days of presentation. Oh, I people were presenting high. So the teacher didn't see good. These ones were high. But we were finished. Like these guys were high, like high. The teacher was like, "Why are you speaking so
uh,
slow? Hurry up! Like, get to the point." The guy is finished.
that's why people are laughing.
Hey, But Jets,
Uh,
how was the week? How did you experience the week? What did you get up to? And yeah, Sly,
ah, this week is all about back to work.
back to
And
work.
everyone is going back to work this week.
Oh
The long
yeah, from
weekends
the
are
holidays.
completed. From the
Yeah.
mini holidays, they all get in with the kids and stuff.
Ah, it's back to the grind. Back to the grind.
Kind of
Back to the
those
9 to 5.
little demons are back to school also.
Yeah,
They
they
got
gave
a
them a week
break.
off.
You know,
Eh,
there's
In fact,
nothing
where
as
was this? Where were these week off when we were in school?
You saw them on TV. That's as close as you got to them.
yeah. Now that I think about them, did we have this much holidays? Why does it feel like we
No,
didn't have
we
this much?
didn't. No, remember that these things started during COVID. So remember in March, schools used to close for like 2 weeks or so.
Yeah,
So I don't know, they changed it during COVID. But then, because I remember when we were in school, you'd close for about 2 weeks, but then it was over to Good Friday as well. Like it would
yeah.
cover the
Mm.
Good Friday part. So since COVID, they changed it. These kids would close before Good Friday, and I think they'll close for like a week or something like that. Then
And
after
and
that,
as
now they get another holiday, which is like ridiculous. But
And okay, you guys may judge me for this, but let me ask you your take on this. So I was listening to radio the other day, and they were asking like, what is the one thing you think could make your life easier? And one of the ladies called and she said, what can make her life easier because she's a teacher is something that can help them, like IT thing that can help them mark tests. And my question, I'm not being unfair. I'm not trying to judge, but guys, these guys get their own leave and holiday and school leave. Like,
mm,
do they not have enough
Mm.
time? Like, they don't even mark during the holiday. Like a lot of the times they don't mark. Okay, maybe they do because sometimes the tests are before holidays. But let's be
like in
honest.
June.
But let's be honest. How many, they get the normal holidays that the kids get, like March,
Mm.
June, and September, and on top of that they have the December one. So I'm thinking, so you ask yourself, in when you're working corporate where you are now, they give you what, 22, 21 days, and the
21
rest is like
days.
sick
Yeah,
leave.
21. Mm.
You
Mm.
see, it's the rest is like sick leave. So I never get when teachers complain about tests, marking tests. These guys almost get like 2 to 3 months off when schools are off. Like, I,
I get it to a certain extent, yes, because you have to look at it this way. During the day, you're mostly teaching. You don't have time for marks. You In the morning, you have to prepare for all the classes you have. In the afternoon, and then when you're gonna have time to mark at night when you have to be with your family and stuff like that. Because
But then
during the day,
schools,
it's mostly you teaching kids, preparing for next class,
but you
making
must
sure that
remember,
everything is covered.
let's go back to our schooling days. Let's go back to our schooling days. Didn't the teachers have free periods? And the school does not end unless you are a teacher who participates in like the sports stuff. But some of the teachers, like 2:30, the person's going home, or you are
mm,
still clicking on that laptop or thing. So all these hours that they have, like they don't, like they, and like a free period, leaving 2:30, all these things you use for your marking of
that's
the
for
test.
marking.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be like from 3 o'clock they would use that for marking of the test. I don't know about today's teachers, but back
But
when we were
still,
there, they'd use like from 3 to 5 would be like marking. But
there's
then
that
you'd
and there's
also
free periods.
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember, free periods, it depends. Again, like I said, depends on how you've planned your day. As I said, you still need to prepare for your classes to teach and everything,
but you
besides
must remember
marking.
but you
And then
must
on top of
remember
that, you still need to write the test. Because
but
remember,
what
before matric,
yeah.
they do their own test.
Yeah, but I get that, ne? But you must remember one thing, that a lot of the time they are redoing a syllabus, unless you're a new teacher and you're still getting to grips with the system. But a lot of the times the syllabus doesn't change too much. So it's
Mm,
not things that you don't know. You don't know. You even know how you approach every like class
every
in
subject.
previous years and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So you have an idea of what you're gonna do. So I'm not look, in when I'm saying this, I'm not saying what they do to teach is invalid. What I'm arguing is I feel they have more than enough time. Like the
Mm,
marking of tests, I don't. When you look at how much time they get off and the marking of tests, I don't think it's the same. And someone can argue, good, yeah, but these guys during the day they're watching your kids, but like, yeah, but that's the job.
yeah,
During the day, someone
Yeah.
is in the ground mining. Like, not everyone is going to have a nice like job where they sit on the beach or something.
unless you're a lifeguard or something like that.
But the lifeguard will be complaining that he gets burnt. So,
Well, you get
if
sunburned
he's
chilling at the
if he's
beach
if
all
he's
day.
Caucasian, yes.
mm,
If he's black, I doesn't care.
yeah, it's hot in the streets, guys. I am black, but hey, sometimes summers, but no, but
But honest,
okay. Let's be on a serious note. l- can we, Jaka, what's your take? Because me, I feel like marking is, yes, they have to come up with the test. Yes, that's difficult and all of those. But think of your world where sometimes you have to take work home as well.
mm,
And no one cares about that. And on top of that, you don't have holidays. Like
yeah,
how many
Mm,
20 leave days is what?
21
Is
21.
one
days.
is
It's
21
about
days is
3 weeks.
like a month.
Yeah,
Now
less
they
than
don't
a
have a
month.
month. They have like almost 3 to 4 months of holiday because that December one runs from December to Jan.
Jan.
That's like a month. June
It's
is
about
about
six
3.
weeks.
You see, so they have a lot of time off. And on top of that, you can still take leave if you need to, like your own leave.
Yeah. So with them, so the way I see it is like these people have more than enough time, and also even with marking, it's not like you're marking. It's not like your marking is rewriting the test every single time for every single paper. It's that thing where now you have a memorandum, you literally just check in that everything that's on the memorandum or on your question paper matches what is on the memorandum, and you move. It's a literally
Yeah,
copy and paste job. It's not like you have to rewrite the test. Obviously, here and there you'll need to improvise in terms of seeing what's on the paper and use your own discretion
yeah.
to see if it
Especially for
you
like the
know.
things like English and Africa when there's
Yeah,
like
Yeah, those
those
are
essays and
require
stuff.
a lot of reading.
exactly. But
Mm.
still, I mean, it's built into the job. You're knocking off by 2, 2:30. I mean, we're in the office from what time? You're like from 7. You leave in the you in offices for like 9 hours working, and you
You
still
see what I
sometimes have to
mean?
take work home, and nobody complains. I mean, you
Mm.
must just pick it up and move.
I
But another
complain when
thing,
I have to take it home. Yeah,
yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
you
I
still take
complain
it
when
and
I have to
soldier
take it
on.
home.
But you take it
You see
upstairs and soldier on. So it's one of
exactly.
those.
And you lucky you complain. Like us, we don't have a choice. You see, when I was saying I'm working weekends, I'm not saying it because it's nice. Because when
Mm.
I wake up on a weekend, I'm like, it's time to work. I like work. It's because I have to. I have to.
Some of us get
And that's
scheduled on the weekend, pal.
yeah, but I'm saying you have 2 days like off. So in
Mm.
those 2 days off, it's not like you're gonna take those 2 days and say, let me work whatever. You're like, I'm done working, I'm gonna rest in these 2 days. What I'm saying is that other people, a lot of other people, what they find is that on the weekends they are still working. Like
Mm.
that a lot of people go through month end, then they have to work Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
and then like the audit space is even worse because when you're on an audit deadline or whatever, you work hours and hours and hours and hours.
Mm.
So what I'm saying is I feel like their class is one of the easier ones because we've been in classes where, like, for example, or their career. Let me not say easy; people will come for me. But you get where I'm coming from is because, for example, we've been in classes where the teacher marks while we're in a class because she gave us an exercise to do, and she'll
Yeah.
continue her marking.
Yes, yes.
You
So it's
know.
just
Yeah.
it's about the approach they use. But another thing I can say might be the issue. We're getting younger teachers in now. So the new generation of teachers now are used to everything. Or let me not say they're used to it, but they're thinking more in a space where things can get done for them to make their job easier as
Mm,
compared to
mm,
the teachers we had when we were coming up. The teachers we had when we were coming up are like a lot of them are retiring even
mm,
because
But
they're old.
also, what I think is making a lot of things easier is the rise of AI and technology. Most schools are starting to adopt technology in their schools, and that
mm.
at least helps makes things easier in terms of doing assignments, assigning assignments, and maybe can help them with marking. Although I wouldn't agree,
That's what they want. They want something that's gonna
uh,
help
but
them mark, but it's a difficult thing where it becomes judgmental.
no, the thing is
Mm,
that one would be it won't have discretion where maybe I wrote something that's similar to what the answer is. That automated marking, one thing I did notice it won't work because it has no discretion. What
Mm,
the teacher gave as an answer, that it should be on all our answer paper. If it's not, it's gonna mark it wrong.
mm.
I
But
have seen
because
it
we're
tried,
going
but it
in,
doesn't work.
but because we're going in the future of AI, I need to they say these AI machines, they can learn like that discretion. They can learn
Mm,
those elements. It's just that obviously it's not gonna be now. It's gonna
yeah.
be in like future years, whatever. Because you see how these AIs are talking to us today, they think that we are their friends. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." I was like, "Nah, it's gone." Oh, so you know how these things go.
Uh,
I
But
know.
yeah,
well,
that was just my point I wanted to ask about because I found that very interesting. What did you guys pick up this week?
I actually have something
Yeah.
a bit more interesting. Okay, with the war
What are you trying to say? How this man?
with the
So
war
you're
with
saying when
the
I come with boring topics? Yeah.
Nobody cares about teachers anyway. It's like to hell with
teachers are the
them.
last thing.
Yay,
We think of
yay,
teachers the last thing.
hey, they'll come for you, Baba. Hey, yay, yay, yay.
Uh,
Let's respect these teachers.
eh?
No, but the one thing I did find interesting is the space where you guys know that India and Pakistan are gearing up for a potential war. So I've
See,
been
I
reading.
heard that there's a possible postponement of the IPL. I just didn't get
Yeah.
what's happening.
No, no, it's
Hey, war.
political tension. A full war, a potential war. They've been on edge. Kicked off recently. From what I could gather, it was Pakistan are blaming India for launching missiles
Eh,
close to them or near them. So they got angry. Now, like they are seriously beefing, and there is a potential war which they
bayaqhopana
postponed.
ngama-spice.
The
Yo.
Pakistanis will sell them. They'll be like, "Hey, my friend, come buy the chips. It will be okay."
I'm sure the Indian guys will tell them, hey, hey, this is not South Africa. Don't call me my friend.
Hey, hey, that's
Uh,
dumb. But I never
Yo,
thought
yeah.
that India could go to war. I never thought they were
Hmm?
capable. I mean, we struggle with South African Indians.
ah, that's
Like
easy. Well, 1 billion people, most of them are starving. All you have to do is promise them food. Hey, there's
they'll
free
fight.
rotis. There's free rotis. You'll see them jumping into Pakistan.
Mob justice.
Yeah, because there's a side there's a side of India that people don't tell. Hey, India can be very violent. Like they
Seriously.
still, it's like
Hmm.
go. There's areas in India that still have almost like that rural side of KZN where people will hit you with pangas. Like
Mm.
they don't have time for guns. They'll just panga you. India has sides like that.
Well, of
Uh,
1 billion people, there's a rural side, there's a
you know
slightly more developed side.
that
Mm.
part I can get. I just didn't think Indians were violent.
Uh,
Ah,
You think?
just because you
I
haven't
just
been to Durban where you get bambad binkunzi by an Indian, no.
yeah, you see that's the
No
thing.
bambad.
Like for me it would be funny. Like Mara, come on.
They'll come, hey,
Come on,
my
Mr. Naidu. Mr. Naidu, let's not do this.
Hey, don't play with Indians from Durban. Those ones I think are even worse than the ones from India. I
Are
think
they
they're
worse?
worse. Mm. But now, what you saying about this wars, like?
yeah, apparently, like they're on edge now, and the
Mm.
political tension has been rising. So they had to postpone the IPL, and Pakistan also postponed their tournaments as well until it is resolved. So, like for a week, where they're gonna sit at a table and then I guess try hash things out.
Eish, that's gonna be a table and a half. Imagine all those curries and the oh, Baba. And I might also propose a war, knowing that I'll be served food for days. I feel like Indian food can be nice. The way they cook I don't know.
Mm.
Indians like know how to cook meat properly, like black people.
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
So
I,
depends how you like the meat. One
let
thing,
me just understand, gents. Out of all of this, you choose to talk about the food aspect of it.
sometimes you must give people their flowers. Some of
or
the
their
Indian dishes are nice.
or their spices rather.
yeah, like butter chicken, yo.
You see what I mean? But yeah, for me, ne, I always have I don't like conspiracy theories, but I always at some point you have to start questioning. Like, why is everyone now talking about war? Russia, Ukraine, USA is bullying everyone. Like sometimes you have to ask yourself, these big players that we have in the world, what do they gain from this? Because every time the concept of war gets triggered in a country, the first thing you need to ask is like, what does this country have that a thing like USA and all these guys can benefit from? Because they like adding, not let me not say they like adding turmoil, but whenever there's a war in a country, they come for aid and then they stay there
Yeah.
for life. And it's like, how why are these guys in this country forever? Then it turns out that then there's conspiracy theories that they actually were part of they
They
initiated the
fueled it
war
and
because
all
they
of
wanted
that.
the oil and all of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
Well,
usually that's the case. Well, as per what goes around. But then it would make sense given that they have a lot to benefit. I mean, why
Mm,
would I get involved in your war if I don't stand to benefit in any way from it? It doesn't make
exactly.
sense, you know.
yeah, well, someone
So
has
I
to benefit. And war is big business, big business.
yeah, it
Look at the
is.
Second World War and how quickly Germany bounced back, even though they
But that
lost
for
the
me, I
war.
always say is unfair. And I'm not saying this to spite any Germans or whatever the case may be, but look at African countries, how when we try to recover from colonization, the world does not care. It doesn't give a rat's but like they will still make the rand suffer to the dollar,
Mm,
knowing where we come from. They will still make, but Germany now is still enjoying the benefits of of using the European currency. So
yeah.
when they say the European currency is going stronger, just know that the country that once created what like was part of like a historical death is part of that. And like for example, so that's why I never get like the powerhouses like the UK. We the world still doesn't like the fact that they colonized USA, what they did to the native Indians, but these guys are still at the top. But
Mm.
when we, like, for example, if Cyril Ramaphosa has to say he's giving back the rand will hit 30 rand that day. You
Yes,
know,
it's about. That's why I say you have to look at the gains. You have to look at what a country gains from being at war, whether it be losing or winning side of the war. What do you gain? Where do you prosper? Not every country gains, but mostly I
mm,
know that even Japan, who got bombed by nuclear weapons, they've managed to recover as well to be maybe one of a global powerhouse under
I
carpet,
think
but
but that's
there
another
a
is
thing,
certain
different side.
gains.
But that's a
another
different
thing,
side.
yeah, no, the Japan one, the Asian countries like your Japan and China, they went and worked on themselves because they never
Yeah.
relied on anyone. But
Mm.
remember, with Africa, a lot of
And if
these,
and I wanted to say sorry, Joe. I wanted to say, and even if you look at their currencies, they are not currencies that show like they're strong, like as the
yeah,
US and Britain and
Mm.
all of that, and the pound. But they technically have all the USA and Britain and all these countries use their technology. So it's
yeah.
interesting.
So they're operating from a position of power in such a way that they are also decisive in how they enact that power. So they have no problems cutting off certain relationships. So with us, on the other hand, another thing we also need to look at is that if Africa decides that no, we're going to start implementing certain policies that benefit Africans, most of these major players will lose in a sense that now, because remember that these European countries, a lot of them through colonization, built their wealth through Africa.
Yeah.
So now, if we decide that okay, no, screw this, we no longer want to sever ties with you, and want to start doing our own thing. Now, whatever they benefited from that, it ends there. The tap runs dry there. Because then now
Mm,
they need to start supporting what we are doing in order to maintain that relationship, which works, in which they lose. And if they lose, they not only one nation loses, a lot of them will start to lose. That's why they now keep the foot on. They try to keep the foot on our necks to say that no,
mm.
any sign nje ya hore you bringing your head up, it needs to be squeezed back down. Yeah, they'll even send your brother to kill you. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, I was even going to say that to be
Assassinations.
like the worst part about, I don't know how they figured it out that we are weak as a black society. I honestly don't know
Mm,
how they figured it out, but these guys can literally create a genocide, like convince someone that this guy is eating from you or stealing from you,
yeah.
and you'll be convinced, and then they'll
Mm,
say take action, here are guns.
No, but I think
Then
that
you'll run into that person's house and shoot them, only to find out that it was
but
their
I think
plan
yeah.
that
all along.
came with colonization. First, like colonize, destroy,
Divide
believe,
and conquer.
divide and conquer type of thing.
Mm,
And then once you divide and conquer, when we leave you, you don't trust your neighbor anymore. It's easier to
mm,
take over and to sow discord when it's like that. I think that's where it plays a part with colonization because they
mm.
did divide us, they moved us, they did everything.
Hey, and they
They
did
made
it
sure
proper. That's why I'm like,
we
yo,
went
the
together.
Mm.
apartheid guys were geniuses.
Well, you see.
These are masters of psychology, guys. These are people who understood human psychology. So they knew even there was I don't know who wrote the book. I didn't read the book.
Mm,
Where and a lot of people talk about it, especially Americans, where they're like, no, if you want to control a certain group of people, you need to destroy the strongest one there in front of everyone, so that they get to see that no, the same person that you view as the strongest, you need to see them at
mm.
their weakest and when they are broken, and then you've broken the whole group basically.
Hey, And what they do for us, even worse, is that they split us, and then
Yeah,
they convince you that you are not succeeding or you are having a tough life because that other group is benefiting. That's why you'll
yeah,
find, like, if you go to a lot of colored communities, they don't, they will call themselves black. Look, I always consider colored people as black. That's just me, just because we grew up around them, for me. And I feel like the
yeah.
struggle was similar. But
That's
what you
yeah.
tend to find is that they will also believe they are black until a certain point.
Mm,
Like, then they will start being like, but we are technically better than you guys. But it's not something that they put in their minds. It's something that the apartheid government, whatever, was telling the white people, were telling the colored people that we prefer you guys. So
mm,
they treated them more white than black. And then because of that, they kind of were not sure. Like, they knew they were black because some of their families were black, but at the same time they felt like, but they are white. Like, there's
mm,
more benefit to aligning with a white person than aligning with a black person. So
mm.
I think that's sometimes how hectic apartheid is, because even amongst the like, for example, if we make an example of Soweto, like the different areas, there's going to be an area that has Amazulu,
Yeah.
Amashangani, like all of those kind of things is split. But and you will think that, no, guys, we're all black, but at a certain point you'll be like, when you are a black person in a vendor area or a Zulu person in a vendor area, people are going to say, Mara, Mara, this is Zulu. And then you're gonna be like, hi, like, why are these guys saying this Zulu? And when a vendor
Mm,
enters a Zulu area, it's gonna be like, Mara, this vendor. Yes, I'm a vendor. Then you're gonna be like, how?
mm.
Like,
Yeah, it's part of divide and conquer, that strategy of divide and conquer,
mm.
But yeah, that was the
I,
interesting thing.
it's sad, but I mean, what can we do? Because even
And you
now,
can't fix it. That's that,
you
or you,
can't.
it can be fixed, but you individually can't fix it.
You can't. It'll take a long time also to try and actually to undo the damage, because some of these things, what happens is that without, like, they get passed down even to children, right?
Mm.
Because children mimic what they see without realizing it. So that's why, if okay, the only person who has a kid here, to Zuma, he knows. I don't know if you started seeing it with your own kid, but whatever you do, she'll just do, like,
Yeah.
randomly.
Mm.
She'll use words that you use,
Mm.
to
Facial
express herself and all of.
expressions, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So kids do the same thing. So these attitudes that we have of where we now start, we labeling people according to whatever groups they fall under. Children
Mm.
take that. So your child will be 7 and be like, hey, yes, Lama Venda. And then you'll be like, how? Where did this? You act surprised, like, how? Where did this child get this thing? But you,
Mm.
that thing is there. Like, they get it from you, the parents. They see it in the community they're in as well. It's something
Mm.
that's just like, it ends up becoming something that's hard to grow out of,
Mm.
because then it comes
And
like
And
innately.
what's the sad part about it, ne, is that the white people tend to like using this tool to divide us.
Mm,
But people tend to forget that it's the same tool that actually created Hitler.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it is.
it's the exact same tool that created Hitler. Like, one of the worst people to have ever entered the face of the planet was created under the same circumstance. People convinced him that Jews were bad. He didn't even have growing up, he had no interest in the Jews side of it. But
Mm,
the more he felt like his
Mm.
life and career is being held back, and people kept pointing at that group and saying, it's that group, it's that group, it's that group. Then his hate for the group grew,
mm.
and then it got to a point where he had the power to punish that group,
Mm.
you know. So that's why I say
But I
that.
also feel like Hitler, he had a personal beef, because if I get his past correct, he is also pissed at the Jews for they didn't accept him as one of their own.
But you must remember, when they didn't accept him, it was an exam. And then and it's like, for example, if you go to an exam and you fail and the panel is black people, you'll leave there saying, Ish, I failed. You won't say, Ish, I failed, but it's black people. But when he left that room and I think he was there. I remember a movie we watched where he now had failed and stuff. He found a group of people who kept saying the failures of Germans are based on Jews. And then he was like, no, but I
Yeah.
also failed, and the markers were Jews. So you see, then the idea that people were creating fed into already what it made it more true to in his world
Uh,
to be like, no, but these guys are right because these guys also failed me. Even though you'll find that in that painting, whatever, he actually was the one with the worst painting, like in that exam. He didn't qualify. But because this narrative exists, etc., then it ends up being like that. It's like if the ANC was run by Zulus and now it was being like run to the ground, almost all black people would be convinced that it's Zulu people that are the problem. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
yeah.
yeah.
But
Right.
yeah,
That one is just something else. But this is our team.
this is our tea. Hey, Jwaga, what point did you want to add?
I even forgot. Oh no, I wanted to say, apart from all the sad, the gully and gruesome stuff that happened, especially in Germany, Hitler was
Mm.
actually brilliant, eh? How do
Yo,
you convince an
Jwaga,
entire
Jwaga.
nation?
Oh,
No, he took advantage of the First World War when the First World War
you
ended.
know,
He
I
saw an
want you to
opportunity.
let's add a disclaimer here. We are in no way praising
The
the
actions,
the violent actions or whatever.
yes,
But do you know there's a truth that sometimes you can learn something from someone you disagree with 120%.
yeah. Like the way this guy was able to communicate his point and get people to believe, I hands down, I would give it to him because he got to people to a point where they're even doing that salute of his.
You know?
Like that is some real leadership right there. I think
Mm,
anyone who grew up around him would have felt like, I know this is a good role model, even though he wasn't the best. Similar to how, growing up in the hood
mm,
and you are poor.
Mm.
Well, we didn't grow up in the hood except for Wallet, but you grow up
mm.
in the hood and then you are like you're living in poverty, and then the only people you see with money are the thugs, the hijackers. Those are the people you look up to and be like, I wanna be like them.
Yeah.
I'm sure Hitler had his own group of kids that are like, this is the man to follow. Obviously, up until he
Mm.
died, and
Do
they'll
you
be
know
like,
even
never mind.
do you know even his wife, when he was rising, the wife that the lady ended up marrying, she had another partner, and based on his aura and what he represented, she left that partner to go be with Hitler. And I think that guy ended up being an informant. The husband ended up being an informant for the USA.
Yeah, I mean, the guy took his wife.
Ai,
I'm
he
showing
should
his
have killed
skin.
him.
Hey,
Manje yompimpa mabakshanga stina. Ai.
Yeah, the guy was hurt. The same thing
yeah.
they did to you, Wallet, where you,
I don't bring up my trauma, please. I'm not ready. I
yeah, but
leave my
it was
trauma.
like,
Leave
it
my
was
trauma.
painful.
Because the
Like
one
two
thing
seconds.
the one thing I remember of the Hitler story, okay, not the one thing, the takeaway I always take from the Hitler story is that imagine if Hitler was just a good guy instead of the nonsense that he was, like like the actions he took. Imagine his story was how it was, but he
Mm,
just made good decisions, like no concentration camps and all of that. He just made good decisions that, yes, bring the Germans closer to employment and the life that they wanted to live. Because I say this because in a lot of things he did, the world took away from the things that he did for Germany. For example,
mm,
I've heard that he invented highways, but he
yeah,
invented highways because of how he wanted the military cars to be able to access different points of the country
and
in
quicker.
and quickly. So
Yeah,
you see, good invention, but he used it with the wrong intention. So
yeah.
now people are even scared to claim it as his thing. So, for example, if you mention the highway, people will be like, Amara, why did you have to bring up Hitler? But technically, he was
It's
part of
his
the
work.
process.
His
Exactly, it
work.
was
It was
exactly.
his
So,
plan.
it's those kind of things where you like, imagine if he was just a good person and his rise was the way it was because like oh, I wanted to say this is the funny thing about Hitler. A lot of politicians today use the cadence and everything that Hitler used in their politics today. How Hitler used propaganda, etc.
Mm,
People use them, and I'm not saying hey, people will come for me. And I'm not saying Julius Malema has a lot of is like similar to Hitler, but I'm saying how he talks. If you look at how Hitler used to speak in rallies and
yeah.
how Julius Malema you
Mm.
started even from the ANC days, it was more. You remember what is that thing? What is that book that we Animal Farm? The
Mm,
squealer approach where that guy just goes and speaks and he can sway anyone and all of those things.
mm.
It's a similar thing that Hitler had.
It's just that Hitler was had a lot of emotion when he spoke, so people
Exactly.
connected with him on an emotional level and would
Mm,
actually listen to what he said. And
Mm.
exactly.
the funny thing about it is that they didn't listen with that thing out to critique. They just listened in like yes, because of the
Mm,
way he spoke with like a passion that people like it just grabbed people. So there
mm.
are times when I would look at those clips and I wouldn't understand what he's saying, but I'd look at those clips and I'd be like, you know, that thing where you're just looking at something and you're like, yeah, Maria, I don't know what you're saying, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, because
Let's go.
it's like it's like for example, if I wanna be a politician today, I'm not gonna go there and tell you, Guti, I'm going to build a road. Me, I'll tell you straight. You guys are hungry. You
Yeah,
unemployed. Like I'll speak to the things that value. Then you're gonna be like, Mara, this guy is
exactly.
right. I'm hungry and I'm unemployed. Man, this guy gets me. And then that time,
Because you don't
cooking
get
my
You're
own
cooking them.
thing. Yeah.
You're cooking them.
Exactly. Like
Eh,
the moment the EFF put the domestic workers in the and those overalls, I knew our propaganda nice.
mm,
Like all domestic workers, all people who are wearing like those, they're going to automatically run because they think this represents me. Can't
yeah,
when
psychology.
it's time to when the real work
Action.
needs to begin, those will not be. You'll find that that person is living in Hyde Park and has no idea what your life in Alex is about. No
Yeah,
idea.
that's a 1 hour outfit. So they just wait for the purpose of being seen in it, and then after that, it's over. You're
Exactly.
done. It's a costume.
Yeah, but
But
the role model thing is an interesting one because me growing up, I won't say when you grow up, I won't say there was someone where I looked up and I was like, that's a role model. The one thing I maybe will say is that uh, my brother I'll say was more the role model because he was the example of
mm,
someone like progressing, like getting through school, playing sports, all of those things. Those are the things you're like, but this guy is moving in the right direction. Then that guy becomes like your beacon of what
mm,
possible success looks like, so then it goes back to your point to be like in the hood with the gangsters, when that guy is driving the fast car, has the women, is flashing cash, then to another kid, that is the role model.
yeah.
So that's an
Then
interesting
there's
thing.
these us those of us who didn't grow up in the hood were the closest thing to a role model. It was tough because in the burbs you don't see all the people that look like you. They're all working in gardens and they're
Yeah.
doing maintenance work. So
Mm.
a lot of the time, the people that you would look up to are people that are not even close to you. It's
Mm.
people that you can't really relate to. Because with me, my
Yeah.
brothers were just not that they were bad. I mean, I saw my eldest brother was the first in the family to go to university, like in the
Mm.
entire family. So
Mm.
for that was an achievement on his part. But beyond that, it was just like, okay. I think also because it depends on the person. Like for me,
Mm.
I was always an ambitious person. So it's hard to be that person and look for something that looks like you that is on that level. I don't know if I'm
Mm.
making sense. Like
You are
where
making sense.
someone relatable that you can be like, oh, okay, so this guy is doing it. So that means I can also get to that level, apart from Michael Jackson and R. Kelly. But I mean, they're not close. So
Yeah.
they're not people that like you are in close
Uh,
proximity to say like, oh, okay,
Mm.
cool. I love their music still,
But
but
maybe for me, it's a weird one because for me, it's difficult to even say role model because there's no one I looked at and I was like, I wanna be that person. I looked at their career and like I want the career, but
Oh
like I
yeah.
wasn't
But I
Yeah,
really.
think
I think for me that was the thing as well, where it
Mm,
was not specific to be like, no, I wanna be that person or I wanna be like
yeah,
that person. It was just the thing where there's nobody who like excited you to the extent you're, oh, okay, cool. Like whatever this
yeah.
person does, I'll try
mm,
and follow in their footsteps to get to, you know.
Mm,
but I think there's also that thing of when because I've had a couple of different experiences growing up in the hood. You
Mm.
get those role models like those as the ones you
mind you, why
guys
do you
were
talk
saying.
like this if you're from the hood?
Me, nah, because I was lucky. Because no, like the gangsters
The
and
cheese
stuff like
boy,
that, they
the
they, they
cheese
didn't
boy,
Yeah,
want
he's a
me.
cheese boy. Yeah,
the
yeah.
cheese
It was
boy.
like, no,
Yeah, I
he's too
am cheese
soft. He's a
boy.
marshmallow.
It's a
Uju
marshmallow.
Patek.
Yeah, when he's in the street, this is the real
Uh,
cheese nana. The real cheese nana.
uh, listen to these guys thinking, hey, wow, they're gonna come for me now, calling me a
Zero
cheese boy.
street cred, wow.
Wow, wow, ngazon Kenya in son. See now, no, but in all honesty, guys, a role model doesn't have to be someone you look at, you look to want to be. But I would say some of them, on my side, some of them would be something um, like when let me put it like this: the gangsters would have a word with us. The ones that are top, the ones we look at, the ones that we all thinking like, yeah, we all wanna be like them. They would have a word like, "Hayi ntwana, bloma kancane, ungayingeni le nto lena." To have a lookout for you as a role model, you're like, yes, but he's saying the truth, but he's also being a bit of a mentor where he's steering you in the right direction away from whatever he's doing.
Mm.
That could also be a role model.
Mm. Yeah, so
Maybe the term role model maybe is difficult to define. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't because when I look at people in my world, it's hard to really say I
Mm.
wanted to follow that person's path or whatever the case may be. But like Sly is saying, the mentor one is a good
Mm.
idea, like mentor or looking through someone's experiences and learning from those experiences.
Mm.
But it's like difficult to say that was my role model, whatever. So it's like you learn from people's experiences, but you
Yeah.
can't look at everything that person did and say everything that this person is. I wish I could follow this road and embody it.
Mm.
So that's why I'm like I struggle with this role model term.
Just out of interest, Wallet, what did you want to be when you were a kid? Like, I'm just curious. I've been meaning to ask.
It depends.
No, no,
When
no,
I
no, no,
was
no, no. It's a
about,
simple question. When you were a kid, what did you want to be?
He's,
I'll
he's,
tell you
he's
the
saying it
truth.
depends. He's saying it depends
At
as
what
if he's trying
age?
to give
At what
you
age?
different
At what
perspectives
age?
of what he would have said. Just tell us
But
what
to
you
be
thought
honest,
when you
I
were a
wanted to
kid.
be a soccer player. There's nothing else. At that time, I wanted to be a soccer player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Then what
Maybe let's
happened?
ask. Let's ask it like. Okay. Yeah. Then what happened? No, but we know what
Ah,
happened. He didn't make it. Then
I didn't.
our
You can't
let's
be a
maybe.
soccer player at 80 kilos. Like,
No, you can. I just didn't get. Let me put it like this. I didn't get the support maybe I had needed at that time.
What do
from
Yeah,
you
the
I
mean
didn't get the
parents
support?
or.
support from my parents.
Oh,
Instead of
okay.
taking me to gym, they'd be like, "No, do your homework, focus on this." When I wanted
And
to go out and
eat.
play,
And they're
you
like, no,
know,
just give him food. He'll sit still.
yeah, that type of thing. Not that I'm blaming them fully; they tried their best, but yeah, I wish I
Mm.
had that support where they would send me out to go play soccer more.
Oh, okay.
Eh, That's a
That's why
valid
you
one.
always did that deeper of yours. That was the
Jwaga,
deeper that you
you?
thought would be on TV. For me, for me, it never changed. I always wanted to be a musician.
Yeah.
Always. I think I was just fortunate in a sense that I had the mother that I had. My mother didn't care what you wanted to do. She'd just be like, at the end of the day, you need to live with your decision. So,
Mm.
yeah, like whatever you decide, although she had her own dreams for me, but well, sorry, like
Eh,
I
I,
couldn't.
yeah. I, but yeah, that's true. That's true.
And
I for
then
me,
manga,
you guys, I think Jwaga, what did I wanna be? Let me see if
You
Jwaga
wanted
would
you
know.
wanted to be a soccer player.
Yeah, I knew it. Jwaga knew. So I wanted to be a soccer player and I pushed at it. I pushed. You guys even saw I ended up on crutches at some point trying to
yeah,
Yeah.
push. So
Scholar
it's so the injury, I that one messed me up. And the
took
funny
you
thing about,
out.
yeah, I'm not even saying I was gonna be good, but when you have the injury young, you never know. It becomes a question mark
Mm,
to be like, could I have gotten better? Those kind of things. But like I was in the right spaces, let me say that. I was in the right
yeah.
spaces, but it was just a matter of unfortunately getting the injury early. Because fun fact, one of the guys who I played with, he plays for Sekhukhune now. He's a
Oh,
left
okay.
back for Sekhukhune.
Mhm.
So you see, it's like we were close. And when he actually went, I think that at that time, our coach, now he was the former Pirates coach. I mean, Pirates player Dennis Lotter, Uchi Sampama. So
Mm,
when he joined Swallows, the Swallows recruited him at that time as a striker coach. I think he was a striker coach, right? And then what he used to do is that when there were trials at Swallows, he used to call our team to go tell us our team about it. And this guy who I'm talking about went to the trials and stuff, and he made it to the junior ranks and played, the reserve side, whatever. When I was meant to go, that was the year of the injury, so just didn't work out.
it's actually funny how
Yeah.
these things play out.
Yeah,
Apart
but
from Wallet's situation where they just fed him, but
but
um,
I also did try, guys. It's not that I didn't try. I did go to actually a couple of its trials.
no, 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 I understand. Like, I'm just teasing you, but I'm just saying that it's funny how these things play out because, especially with injuries, injuries are a mess because they always come back,
Mm.
especially when you get injured young. Like they have a way of coming back. Just that I'm doing better with mine now, but generally there will always be that thing where you are vulnerable to an extent
Mm.
of suffering that injury. And the problem with sports careers is that once you suffer an injury, especially at professional level, it's over.
And the third part is the where you suffer the injury. There's
Yeah.
certain things you can suffer an injury and you can recover, but like for me, it was close. It was more by the knee. So that's like you need you need someone to love you and pay for proper treatment for you to
Mm.
at least have a chance. But like us, when we get injured, we
Don't
don't
even
get
go
the
to the
right.
clinic, Baba. Just walk
Mm,
it
I
off.
I went because my leg was like messed.
Mm,
I went to Helen Joseph, but at Helen Joseph they didn't treat me properly, so my leg had dislocated. But the doctor said no, it's
mm.
fine. So I
Yo,
was technically meant to have cement on my knee or a cast, whatever, just to make sure that
to
it
put it back
stays
in.
in that, yeah, and like it gets solid. Then when I'm done getting out of the cast, I have
And
to go
rehab.
to rehab, yeah, to strengthen the knee. But because they misdiagnosed me there, whatever the case, I went back with like that. I went like back, and I thought, I just have to heal. Since the doctor said I'm fine, I just had to heal till remember. I don't think you guys remember, but until when I thought I was getting bad. But when you can feel good, man, this injury, I it's like you don't feel the same when you're running. Like when you're running, you
Mm,
feel like you can't, like you feel you limited compared to
yeah.
before. But at the same time, you like, maybe I must adjust to this new thing. Then I remember in school we were playing soccer at break, and I think I was chasing. Hey, imagine, I'm even gonna remember this guy, Pabalo, and I tried to tackle the ball, and it popped out again. And then I was like, it's done, bro. It's done.
It reminds me of my own one in Jordan rugby season.
Hey, you rugby guys. Someone got a rugby injury and here and couldn't walk, bro. He couldn't even do a
Eh,
keeper table.
Where
You should have
that
seen it. You
injury,
should see him what happens when his injury comes back. He's
it's
not
still the same. I remember him. Even I got
yo,
one
that
Jordan
injury,
rugby season. The Jordan
guys,
the final one.
that injury put me out. Like I could not run till today. I still can't run. Like I can run, but like it's yo. Let me just say I can jog.
Painful.
That's the best I
yeah.
can do. No, no, it's not painful anymore because I drank something some years ago, and it helped with the pain. Because I used to
Mm.
suffer, like I used to feel pain, especially in winter. Because
Hey,
unlike
you
some
like a lady
people,
who's pregnant, who gave birth. Man.
No, I'm like someone who went through an accident. So
Yeah,
unlike
like
some
these
people,
ladies who went through what you call
C-sections.
C-section. They say winter is rough.
So with me, I got injured, and after getting injured, I had to basically walk it off. There was no medical treatment, nothing. I dislocated my hip. I couldn't walk
Eish.
for some time, and then after that, when I could walk again, it's basically that thing where you just click it back into position and just keep it moving.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
Then
see, not getting
obviously,
proper medical
you know,
checkups.
there was
Well,
no money for that.
there's a free,
You think just
isn't there free?
you had medical aid, but we were on our own. Like,
Yeah. This guy had
that
medical aid.
wallet had medical aid. You didn't know.
Yeah. How do you think I got my knee
Ah,
fixed so quickly?
you had
This guy.
medical aid.
I
Oh,
got
this
my
guy's
knee
a cheese
fixed up
boy.
quick,
When
bro.
you're not a black person, when
No,
This is why
Joe,
the
the
gangsters
medical
don't
aid was my
respect him now.
dad.
this guy was a
Then,
guy who lived in the hood with medical aid.
This is why the
gents,
gangsters don't
when
respect
your
him now.
parents work
They know.
well, gents, when your parent works well and they can afford such things, they put their children on medical aid
Listen,
until
Fair,
21.
fair, fair. We just saying, hey, our
Mhm.
experience was very different.
So
Uh,
with me, when I don't know if dislocated my knee or what happened with my knee. Till today, I don't know. I
mm,
just woke up and it was swollen, like it was huge. They had to
mm,
drain the liquid, went back. Then they told me that I think I twisted it and it fell off the bone for a little bit. Put it
ish.
back in. Yeah, it put it back
Mm,
in. Stayed out for 2 weeks without playing until it got a little bit better with the pills that they were giving me to make it stronger. Although they
let
did
me
say that if it came back, I should go to hospital for a
mm, let me ask you this.
for a
I'm
surgery.
curious about this, but why do you think your parents didn't move out the hood?
I don't know because I know that they did try. I know that they
Mm,
did try. As to why, I don't know because I know that they did try. They did try to get a home loan from the bank. It was
mm,
approved. Then apparently 2 3 months, about 5 months, they took it back. They said it's not approved. So I don't know why. I won't
mm,
answer and say why
mm.
because I know
So
that the
so they
house
did
we're living,
try, but
yeah,
unfortunately,
the house
whatever
that we're
happened
living
happened.
in, yeah, and also I think the house that I'm currently living in, it was my grandmother's house, yeah,
Yeah,
and
makes
there's no one
sense.
else. But yeah, so I don't know why, but they did try. I'm not gonna lie.
ah,
Oh, because I know there are, okay, I wanted to see if your parents had just said, I we're not interested in suburbs. Because I know there are a lot of guys in Soweto who are moneyed, but they
mm,
have no interest in the burbs, have zero interest in the burbs.
yeah, they
They
wanna stay
are
in the hood.
they will rather build a mansion in the hood than go to the burbs. So
Yeah,
that's
but
interesting.
that would depend on the person and how everything goes. I know people who want to move out,
Even
but
that other white guy, who's that? Remember there was a white guy who lived in a DJ. What's his name? Is it not Ocean Landy? Who is it?
Which
Um,
guy?
there's a white guy, a famous white guy, who lived in the hood, a DJ. And he said he preferred to live in the hood because he felt it was safer because he used to work at night. So I don't know why, but he said when he felt like when you live in the suburbs, you're somewhat of a target for especially if you work at night because he was a DJ and stuff. So I'm
I,
not
but
sure.
I'm not
there
sure
was a
about that.
video that I recently saw of a guy who was talking. He's like a celeb, where he was
Mm,
talking about insurance, right? And he's talking more likely about car insurance. He says like people live in the suburb have a cheaper insurance than people live in the hood.
that's true.
And
That's true.
and his argument is like, how is that possible? I live in the hood. I know who steals cars, and everyone in the hood
Oh,
knows that this is my car.
what is this? Well,
Don't
Machita
you give a-
Monday. Those
Yeah,
guys were Machita Monday. Yeah, I
yeah.
know. He
Those
basically
What
says
was
guys.
it?
that
Mm,
he
Yeah.
basically says that if maybe you live in the hood and you buy a car,
Yeah.
automatically you are on the database of all the guys who jack cars,
who
so they
steal?
know that okay, that's your car.
Yes.
You know,
Mm,
then
Because you're in the
so
hood.
most likely it's unlikely that in your own hood they'll steal the car. That's what he says. So as compared to in areas like in the burbs and all of that, people from the burbs, if maybe say they you're traveling somewhere, you most likely gonna get hijacked on your way or whatever. But
Mm.
for people who stay, the only thing is that the car gets found in the hood, but it's not necessarily stolen in the hood. It's stolen everywhere else and then taken to the hood. That was his argument as to the car insurance thing
That's
being more expensive in
interesting.
the hood.
Then why? Yeah. Then why would it be considered more expensive?
because they find
Ah,
they say
But
it's a
you.
high crime zone because that's where they find the
that's where they
cars.
find
Not,
the car.
yeah.
Oh, cause
So
that's
in
where they
insurance
find them.
term is a high
Mm,
crime zone is where do you find those illegal goods? Not necessarily
Yeah.
where they're taken, where they find them. So now because they find it in the hood, automatically the hood gets labeled high crime area, and then
Oh, makes sense.
insurances you go up. But the argument is it wasn't stolen in the hood. No one's gonna steal from, like, I won't steal a car in DK and then come park it in DK. I'm most likely gonna go some to the suburbs, steal it there, come back, strip it in DK,
They need
get
to
rid of
then
all the
get
parts.
their they need to get their database sorted because then they need to ask how many people actually report crimes of stolen vehicles in the hood compared to the burbs.
mm, yeah,
Because
and
if
also I
they
think
get that database right, then at least they can make it.
they can adjust for that, and
Yeah.
also pay attention to the routes that your customers use. So I don't know if you've noticed when driving around, there are certain areas that will be marked as hijacking or smash and grab.
Mm,
They'll have like these signs up to say that that they smash and grab, hijackings, and all of those things.
mm,
So clearly, those areas are marked like that because of incidents that have been reported. So they
mm,
need to take that into account as well. So whenever, because obviously when your car gets hijacked or stolen, you will need to report where it was when it got stolen. Then they need to
mm,
take that
Mm.
into account as well to be like, oh, okay, cool. Whenever I'm at Eastgate Mall, likelihood that there's a likelihood that the car could get stolen, and then that's where now they need to warn you that, hey, Baba, whatever you do, put a snake in the car or something, so
mm,
that because this at this point they'd steal the car, and then they'll tell you that if you're traveling this route, be careful at this and this time because most hijackings have been reported during these times or whatever the case may be.
mm.
Mm.
But maybe they also factor in the safety of those neighborhoods. When I say safety, I'm like, yeah, people may not jack your car, but they may jack you, and that is like because in Soweto that is a thing. Like in the hood, getting jacked, yeah, it's getting jacked. But like in the burbs, like someone really like they jack you with a car. Like they really have to like they have to be strategic as to how they jack you in the burbs. And also factoring in where your house is, I mean where your yeah where your house is, like in terms of do you have securities, estates, all of those things also factor in, because some people in the hood they don't have those things. Who's did I don't
Mm.
know now, but in the back in the days when we were there was no job in the hood. It's the police
Ah,
station.
no. Now there
Now they
is.
have
Now, yeah,
ADT.
now ADT is
People are
taking
moving
over.
up there.
People are
Mm.
moving.
People,
Phila,
I think right now, I feel like more people are not moving out the hood. They'll rather improve their situation
mm,
rather than moving from the hood. Because I know guys, they like to complain like the suburb is too quiet
mm.
and you have to
Remember
drive all the way to the hood for some, I
For
don't know,
nice
for
time.
fun, for nice
yeah,
times, for
remember
having
when
a
we
good
went
time.
to Dwaha's uh gig in Mlazi in KZN. Remember
Yeah.
those guys? That lady warned us when we had that whole accommodation blunder thing, and we
Mm.
found that accommodation last minute. And that lady said we mustn't be scared at night when we come and we see those community patrol guys who
Yeah.
walk at night and stuff like that. I heard a story that the other day that those same guys get beaten up by criminals.
Yeah, because the thing is, they don't carry guns. So when a criminal
Yeah.
comes and he has a gun, there's nothing you can do.
So
Hmm.
I the wood sometimes can be rough. Imagine you are just watching over your community. These guys will be like, "Mwah, this one
You get
we're
it.
gonna
I've
beat," and they say they beat them all up, all of them,
mm,
the crew that was there, but they beat them all
yeah,
up.
that means they had guns. If you have guns with it, you They don't carry guns in faith. They just themselves there with their torches
That's
and
why I'm
what.
like, being those security people is a high risk, high, high,
But
high
now,
risk.
the before I left the hood, well, let me just say, in recent years, they've been like even in like Soweto, you get those people. We've never had an incident where they trap out those people. In fact, they're the ones who beat up people. You'll just hear you'll just hear commotion at 5 a.m. Somebody was
Ah,
trying
you know
to
it's
jump
going
into
down.
someone's yard. Then you know it's gonna get dizzy. People are coming out with
Mm.
night dresses and
Hey,
gowns
wow.
just to
But
at
that
least put their
reminds me.
stamp that I.
That reminds me. That reminds me. When was it? A couple of months back, there was one. There was a case that happened in my hood. Like this guy was robbing people with a gun, like from fair. Like
Mm.
there was a distance, but he kept on robbing people. I can't. The whole community. I've never seen a whole community search for somebody who's jumping walls like that. Every
Mm.
how like everyone just congregated. Like we're not gonna leave the hood. We're not leaving the streets until we find this person.
Mm.
I remember those searches.
And
I
they
think
shired him.
even
Yo,
even in my car, Baba, when people look for you, ha,
Oh,
ha,
are they? But
must
those they
go.
oh, they don't
Your
play.
parents can hide you, your friends can hide you, because they say, hey, if you don't bring this person out, we will hit you as
Yeah,
no, that
they
one was
even burn the
caught.
house down if they have to.
well.
Hamakaya as worse, but that one, when they caught him and they trapped him, threw him in the boots, and they went to trap him some more.
Mm. Man, these
Mob
guys
justice
don't
is the
learn.
one, bro.
Mob justice is dangerous.
I like it, honestly. Hey,
And these
kept people
days,
in order.
and these days in the
But you'll
hood,
find yourself being sticks from Yizo Yizo, getting beaten up for the wrong
what are you
crime.
But
doing?
if
What
we
were
have to
you?
be realistic, it's the same thing with like the whole prison system now, right? People are going to prison for things they didn't do, for things they were not even there for. Like a crime happens, you're not even there, but because you don't have money to get a proper lawyer to help you at that particular time, you end up taking a bullet. So there you can't run away from it. It's
Mm.
unfortunate, it's a blunder, but I mean, if it's your day, it's your day.
But
If it's your
someone
day,
has to talk
I'd
for
prefer the
you.
I prefer the mob justice one because it's now. Like they'll beat you up now. If you die, you die. If you end up in hospital and you
Yo,
survive, then that's fine. But it's over. Oh, the prison one.
But you know what
I
cops
no.
do now? Cops don't even take you to prison anymore when you get tried by mob justice. They'll throw you to in some lake or somewhere fair and just leave you there on the roadside of the road. Unless, of course, you need to
After you
go
get
to hospital. They send you to hospital and leave you in hospital.
mm.
after
Aish.
mob
Right?
justice,
Yeah, after mob justice, not before.
yo,
After mob justice,
mob
Mm.
and
justice is
they
the
think
one.
you and they think you've learned your lesson.
Mm.
Yes.
Aye, aye.
You know, when
Mm-mm.
you talk about that, you remind me of this comedian. Oh well, not a comedian, but I don't know if you guys remember this show. It used to play like back in the days on TV. So you think you are funny.
Oh,
Oh, this guy,
remember?
he made a joke that I about the coming back of Jesus Christ. I'm sure you guys remember. Oh well, I don't know if you remember it, but
Yeah.
he's like, he's like every time they say Jesus will come back, he never comes back. So one thing he discovered after watching the film is that this guy they are lying to us. Well, this guy's not coming back because the way they beat him up,
Who
he
would
says
come back
he was
after
a
that?
he's like he was a leader. He was like a leader in his community forum. He knows very well that a person who got beaten up proper doesn't come back.
That's an interesting one. Actually, that brings us to another question we wanted to ask: that is the Bible was the Bible a good, like, did Africans need the Bible? Did Africans need the Bible? And does the Bible make sense for Africans? Because my take is this: I think the Bible in its construct and everything, I think it makes sense as a book. If you read the messages, obvious. If you read the
Yeah,
message of what the Bible is trying to outline, then it makes sense. You can take a lot from it, etc., etc. But a lot of the times you have, the question then comes that, but did we need it? Like, did we need that Bible? Because the way it was forced upon us, it was like, it's this or you are useless. That's why
yeah,
we got called the K word, because they use the K word to say you guys don't believe in like
Non-believers.
in the non-believers in essence. So, what do
Hey,
you guys think about them?
The short answer
oh,
is that we didn't need it because most of the principles. So what I like to tell people is, whenever asked about it, is that I tell them that I wouldn't read the Bible because I grew up going to church. So I
Mm,
wouldn't read the Bible literally. In other words, I wouldn't read it for like for the stories, but rather for the lessons, right?
mm,
Because naturally there'd be like there are very important lessons. Now, if I was to advocate for any book in the Bible for a person to read, it will only be Proverbs. Only you can leave everything else,
mm,
because a lot of the principles that are in the Bible, apart from the stories that are there, but the general principles in the Bible, what it highlights, are principles that have always been there. You get what I'm saying? These are lessons that
mm,
people had taught before the arrival of the Bible. The only difference is that the Bible is bringing the message that Jesus was the messenger. So personally, I wouldn't like. I mean, we didn't need it. I think we're fine where we were. Hell or no
mm.
hell, I mean, God will understand. If hell is real, then sorry. But I mean, if it's not,
hey,
like we didn't need it,
for,
honestly.
for me, I agree in terms of we didn't need it because the way everything was done at that particular time, it was, I won't say in line, but we had our own culture, our own way of doing things that
Mm,
mirrored the same stories because stories were passed down. It's not like a story was told and then got lost. No, stories were passed down. Storytelling was passed down. Lessons were passed down. So everything that we know happened, it was passed down from generation to generation. And most of the lessons that are there, people had learned them, they were expressing them, and they were telling their children. Because one thing we did lose with the Bible coming in, I feel like we lost that ability to tell stories to other generations. I think the
mm,
generations just ended on the previous ones. On when the Bible came in, people stopped telling the our the stories, the cultural, the traditional stories that could have been maybe been in line, could have worked in concert with the Bible. We don't know, but it's
Mm.
all of a sudden those stories stopped and everything got pushed via the Bible side. That's my take on it.
I
Hence, I
think
say you
for
don't
me,
need it.
I think for me, I think the sin of Africans is not documenting our stories. I think that's our biggest sin
yeah.
because when you look at the Bible now, it's people, it's a group of people, let's say the Jewish people, more the Egyptians, Israel, etc., who documented their lives in the Bible. Whatever these the people about David and all these people, it's basically the stories of the Jewish people, etc. They documented their lineage, their life, whatever the case may be. But in Africa, I've always argued that what if let's put this scenario. What if Jesus like like oh there's the theory that Jesus is technically black and all of those things.
Mm,
But what if Jesus actually did meet like South African people and he sent some like people who ended up migrating to South Africa? What if those people were touched by Jesus and they just migrated to South Africa? But the only difference is that they have their story of
mm,
Jesus's encounter. But because we don't document things, we will never know. So we rely on other people's stories to see if we fit into it. But technically, when you read the Bible, in the stories themselves, we won't fit into it because it's not talking
yeah.
about it's not talking about us, unless you wanna argue the Adam and Eve side. But the Adam and Eve, the Bible kind of always finds a way to link it to the more it will lead you more to the Jewish and
Mm,
the Israelites and Egyptians. So when you read the Bible, you can never really find where we fit into it. And that's just because we also didn't tell our own stories. And our own stories may also have been encounters with Jesus, about Moses, whatever the case may be. Because if slavery was that big back then, they never know. They could have been
mm,
using our people, and when we escaped that slavery, we ran downwards into southern Africa, you know, those
Yeah,
kind of
but
things.
again, another thing that I have, well, my biggest pet peeve with the Bible is there's too many missing chapters. Like there's too
how?
many missing information. it
Kanjani Sly?
yeah, okay. Like it's
Yeah,
so
this guy was
focused
touched
on
by the
the
Pope.
Eh, you know,
He's a new pope, by the way, but we'll get to that later.
I and he's American. I have.
But I feel like there's a lot of missing because the way the Bible's structured, it focuses on, I would say, a small part of history. It doesn't focus even as far as South Americans, most of Europe. We only understand it's maybe the Greeks up until Greece or Italy and Rome. And then
But that's
there's
the
Egypt.
thing.
It's like that's where everyone was centered at. Hence why I say there has to be like missing chapters. If it was truly because they say that the Bible is a documented story series of stories from around the world. What happened to the other parts of the world?
So this is the
And
thing with sorry there. Just this is the thing, right? With other Africa, the thing with Africa, right? Africans have always been migrant, so we've always moved around throughout history. If you can, in fact, if you can go back, if you can trace South African tribes of Africa, you'll most likely boil it down to two originating tribes because we've always moved around. And a lot of the stuff that was like some or certain kingdoms would document their history. Egyptians documented their history, and some of that history ended up in museums in Europe. There were kingdoms like your Timbuktu where they also documented history to, but it's just that it's the how the documentation was done. So with Europeans and their Bible, how they did it was that they actually went and translated it from tablets all the way to put it down on paper and then just go around the world spreading it, like telling everyone that this is the truth. If you don't believe it, really the way they did it was basically forced. It wasn't a thing you oh, okay, guys, take time to read this. You might like it. No, it was like,
no,
hey,
no,
well,
no,
this
it
is
was
the thing.
forced. But remember, even when they were doing that, because I remember reading a story about the Crusaders who were
Mm,
using the Bible. Basically, they was like, "Do you believe in the Bible?" If you said no, they would kill your whole tribe when they were after conquest and building the world in that
Mhm.
sort of British image. They would go like they would travel like to a village, bring the Bible. Do you believe in the Bible? And if you said no, we don't believe, we don't accept the Bible, then they'll, it's like an excuse for them to kill you and destroy your village or
Mm.
something like that. So it was also used as that, which I'm not sure
or
if
a
it was,
weapon,
yeah,
basically.
as a weapon
Yeah.
basically against people. So it was also used as that. That's also another thing that you have to take in consideration. So people were like, "Ah, you have the Bible. We'll have to believe because you can kill us and
Mm.
destroy our village, everything we've built." You know.
It's
So you also,
basically
Over
the
the years
whole
now,
Kunta Kente thing
yeah,
basically,
where they whip you until you call yourself John.
yes.
yeah. So
But instead of whipping you, they kill your family and everything that's there, your entire village as well.
That's why I'm like, okay, because someone would argue that sometimes the truth has to travel in ways we never agree on, if you get what I'm saying. So for example, if we are meant to have the Bible, it don't come to us in a nice way, but we may be the greatest users of the Bible.
which now
You
we
get what I'm
are,
saying?
but now look where we are as people. We are the greatest users of the Bible, but look where we are as people.
Hey, you know.
You see,
That's why I'm like, hey,
and
I don't know, man.
the same people, yes, they may use the Bible, but they don't use it the same way that we do.
But I
Mm,
think that's okay. I'm not sure how true this is, but I've read somewhere that says naturally black people are more spiritually inclined than our Caucasian counterparts, which I'm
Yeah,
not sure
which
how true that is. Is that?
hey, that one is a difficult one. Don't really think
Yeah.
we
yeah.
can say that. But what I will say is that you know why I'm saying this? Because for example, you remember I remember I told you this thing where there was a story where I don't know if it's a true thing, but it was like a picture, whatever, where the man, like these guys go and meet a guy who lives in the wood or whatever, who doesn't know anything about religion, the
Mm,
Bible, all of those things. He just lives in nature, is one with nature, whatever the case may be. But he already knows right and wrong because it's life. Like
mm,
you don't need to tell someone that killing someone is bad. He already knows the wrongs from the right. And then when he got there, they start saying, they were telling him that, do you know that Jesus is your savior and stuff like that, and all of those things. And then his question was like, and then they said, like, in essence, they told him that he's gonna go to hell if he does not worship Jesus, and whatever the case may be. And the guy basically asked that, okay, but if you did not tell me about Jesus, would I still go to heaven? Because technically I would not know that he existed.
mm.
So if you didn't tell me about Jesus, would I have gone to heaven? And the person says, yes, you would have gone to heaven because you wouldn't have known that it's the person you need to worship. It's like, but then why did you tell me about him? Because then I was living my good life. Now I have to live conflicted in in believing in someone who exists who I don't know, and I'm not connected to that person. Now I have to be, now you guys will tell me that I'm going to hell if I don't take accept that guy as my savior. But it's like, but then why did you tell me? And I feel like that's sometimes the
Mm.
concept. I feel that's the same for Africans. That, imagine if we could say that basically most Africans would have gone to heaven, but now we must acknowledge Jesus. Now that's the point that they're saying. If you don't acknowledge Jesus, you're going to hell. But it's like, but we don't know this guy. Like,
We don't even know
what
if
if it,
heaven is real.
you see? So it's like, but we don't know him. Like, wouldn't it have been better if we just were all ignorant and
Mm.
gone on with life? Because
But
even
Doing
if
the right thing.
mm,
isn't it part of like the one of the words is to spread the message, spread the world, spread the message of God? Because there is that whole passage. If I still got it, it's been years, but I know that some of them, especially with Jehovah's Witness, their whole thing is to spread the message of God to everybody. Hence why they
mm,
go door to door.
And those
So
ones
they
are
could
Western
be,
drug dealers.
but but that could be part of it. Them me spreading the message. You didn't know, but okay, I'm here to spread the message so that now that you know.
but you know what I'm saying is that, um let me put it to you this way. If I'm a Jewish person and I grew up on Jesus, it's easier for me to believe in Jesus, right? But if I'm just a random person in the bush, I have no connection to the person. Like, I don't know if you guys were lying. What if you guys wrote this book yourself and it's just your father who
Exactly.
said?
Yeah.
So that person has no connect. Now you guys are gonna say you must believe this person. You must be like, this is his story and what. And then in that person's mind who lives in the bush, he's like, I, I don't know. I don't know. One
Mm.
minute you guys were telling me about a guy with a stick and it turned into a snake. Anxiety, guys. So your guys' story, another one who he gets guineaed by whales. Like, so it's like
It
your
disappeared for
story,
3 days. He lied to the
yeah.
wife.
And then it's like, now you're telling me about the guy whose mom is pregnant, but there's no one who conceived who was there. He just appeared in the
She was
so
a
you see, explaining these stories to someone who didn't grow up in it cult in it
No,
religiously, that person will die not believing your story. Then when he goes to heaven, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you did not believe."
but I understand that. I
There's your door
understand
over
that.
there
But
healing.
part of but part of everything is there is a, like they said, you need to be they needed to spread the message of
No, I
Jesus,
get
of
you.
God, of all of that.
I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying, but that technically does not benefit the world.
Mm.
Mm.
Do you get what
Unless
I'm
if you want to
saying?
look at
Oh no,
Like,
I do get
intention,
what you're
the
saying.
intention is good. The intention is pure and good, but
it,
like it throws a lot of people in turmoil because then they get
Yeah,
lost in the process.
yeah.
but then it goes back to if you, like looking at it now, this ties back to our initial conversation about wars. Because religion has actually been the cause of more wars than anything else.
Mm,
Throughout history, religion has spilled more blood than anything else. So it could be that it was designed to cause the turmoil. And but look, this is just hypothetical, né?
yeah.
It could be that it
Mm.
was intentionally designed to cause turmoil, divide, and to create what you call to create controllable people, if I can put it that way.
Mm,
Because if you can look at it, people who subscribe to religion behave in a certain way. Yes, they have their sins, they're degenerates a lot of the time, but how they conduct their lives is in such a way that they're controllable because they're trying to they're trying to please the God they serve.
mm,
I don't know if I'm making sense. So
yeah.
a
Mm.
lot of the time, you you can kind of understand, you kind of have an idea of how you can move a person because they're controlled by their belief in a particular religion. This is why even
Mm,
fake pastors now are making a lot of money because they manipulate a person's belief in Jesus or in the Bible, and
mm,
then they use that as a way to profit on their own.
mm,
So it could be that whether or not the intention was good is questionable because we don't know, right?
mm,
But there could be the other side to say that, okay, it may have been a good thing, just to try and get people to be better people or good people or whatever. Or it could
mm,
be the other side where there's like, okay, this is what we're going to use to get people to do what we want them to do when we want them to do it. Should it
mm.
be through wars, through crusades, or just like to get people to
Do you know?
stand in line, basically?
Do you know what's the conspiracy theory that I think atheists or some people like that have?
Mhm.
They say the only reason a religion existed is because man, like let's just say we live in a world with no religion, then
Mm,
people will question what is the purpose of life. And when
mm,
people are questioning the purpose of life, people will be committing suicide. They're like, there's no benefit to being alive. They'll be
mm,
doing like you will just be, you won't have a guide. Like for example, when someone puts religion in your life and all of this is, they basically saying that's your final destination. You need to be good to reach
mm,
that destination. But if there's no destination, it means that if I kill Jwaha today, it does not change my
There's no
life. it,
repercussions.
yeah, there's no repercussion. It like does not change my life. If I rape 20 women tomorrow, it does not change my life. And then to other people, a lot of people, because I think the someone actually had said this. I forgot who said this, but I heard it on, I think, on a podcast. They said, "Do you know that human beings?" I think, yeah, it was on a podcast. They say, "Do you know that human beings fill fill their lives with reasons to live, even though
mm.
they don't have reasons to live." So, for
Yeah.
example, there are people who have kids to find a reason to live, but they technically don't have a reason to live in life. Like it's like when they look, because when it gets quiet, when you have too much time on your hands, and you think like, what's the purpose of why we are here, and stuff like that. Then a lot of people who have that conversation, like especially I think it was when that Ebenezer guy, they said
Mhm.
he committed suicide. They
Oh
say
yeah.
the comedians are ones who tend to have who commit suicide because their life is observing and analyzing life. And what tends to happen to comedians is that when they're analyzing, they get to that point quicker in saying that there's actually no purpose to being here. It's like some of them have the most cars, the money, and all of these things, but they're like, but these things are irrelevant, really. But to us, we feel different because we don't have these things. We want to achieve, we want to do this. You have kids, that's your purpose. You have this, and all of these things. And I think that comedian said his only purpose in life is to take care of his mom. Like apart from his mom, he honestly has no interest in what happens in life. Like he honestly has no interest. And I'm saying, but imagine then, wouldn't that be the catalyst to what people then use to create the concept of religion because of the turmoil maybe mankind was going through during that period? It's an interesting one.
That is an
Mm.
interesting
But I
dilemma
think,
that needs time.
yeah, but I think even then, people have always feared death, which is funny, not knowing what's on the other side. So it's, well, except for those who are willing to go to wars, but
Mm,
people generally speaking have always had a fear for death, not knowing what's on the other side. So if we can say maybe take away the religion aspect of it,
mm,
um, a lot of the time you get situations where now, especially seeing how we consume religion, like especially as Africans, how we consume religion with that thing, yeah, it's after death that life will be better.
mm,
So, which is actually weird, but anyway, we consume it with that aspect, yeah, after death life will be better. So now it gives you that thing, yeah, okay, so whatever you're going through now, it's fine. Just keep living, even though you see nothing.
mm,
But like you had mentioned, people always fill their lives with reasons to live. So even if you took the religion away, I still think people would find things to fill their life with. I mean, there are people who give themselves to their crafts or their careers, similar to the comedians, etc., who they'll just give their lives to that, and it would
Mm,
fulfill them to an extent that, even if, as long as they had done it to the highest of their, like, to the highest level that would satisfy them, even if they died the next day, they would die content.
mm.
So even without the
Mm.
religion, yeah, maybe they may have used it to say that, no, maybe like this is what something to aspire to after death, or but still, even with, to take
You
away
know why I'm
the
saying this? You know why I'm
uh
saying this? Now, if you think about it, um, let's think about it in terms of black culture. I think before, if we remove remove religion, we shift to ancestors, right? We
mm,
shift to be like your next life is with the ancestors. As to what you'll
mm,
be doing with the ancestors, you don't know, but
mm,
you just knew that there's ancestors, there's probably like another life after this. That was your concept, right?
mm,
But I feel like to a lot of maybe the other cultures, because they didn't necessarily believe in the ancestral part, it was more like, then what, you
mm,
see? And then to keep people sane or keep people focused and not asking too many questions and all of these things, then if you add religion as a purpose, then at least that person knows that, okay, I'm striving towards religion. And it goes back to that point you said of control. Someone can use it to then control people, to be like, hey, there's Sodom and Gomorrah lah. Like, let me sort these guys out,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting that needs
yeah,
to be.
It's interesting conspiracy theories, but I always say it's interesting. I always say this because um, think of how many people go to church, or even those who don't go to church. How many people just have this concept of heaven and all of these things?
mm,
If you remove that and people go blank, then people will be like, okay, I'm working. Because let me put it to you this way, Joa. You know, when you're working there and you achieve and you're making money and whatever the case may be, you always get to a point even in your working life where you ask yourself, good, matter, why am I doing this? Like, I'm slaving away for these people, they don't care about me. Like, why am I doing this? But I'm saying that there are a lot of people who have that discussion, but because their life is too busy, they ignore it. Like, they stop that conversation early, to be like, I
mhm,
man, I'm hungry. That's why I'm doing this. I man, I need to drive that car. I man, I need to take care of my family. So they fill their lives up with things that they can ignore the truth, you know, of
mhm,
life. So that's why I'm saying, there are certain people who, if they don't have purpose, then it becomes like they lose sight of life.
Yeah, no, we get. I hear you. I hear you at
Mm,
that point. But it is for me. It needs to be how can I say? I'd have to go ahead and look at it in a different manner. Because from an atheist point of view, their they that's their perspective where
mm,
it's basically filling your life up with small goals or big goals or but filling your life up with something to an achievement of sorts to obtain.
mm,
But with religion, it's like there has to be a bigger picture to life there. There has to be something bigger that it even in a small way that I've contributed to. Um, which you might not see, you might see, we don't know. But even then, I feel like everyone is scared of death. We're all trying to run away from death. Even guys who go to war, they're trying to run away from death because most of the time they don't have a choice.
mm,
But everyone tries to run away from death because we are scared of death. We are scared of dying. We all want to be immortal in a sense.
mm.
So with well, I feel there's a lot of people try to immortalize
But
themselves
but
into
what I'm
building
arguing,
something.
I agree with you guys that people run away from death, ne? But what I'm saying is that, but remove the death. If I don't care, if I'm scared of death, but I'm not scared of killing you, then do you get what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like that's why like death. Yes, we all, like most people are scared of death, 100%. That part we will agree.
And
Let's
also,
tick that box. But what I'm
yeah,
arguing is that, but if you remove religion, I get the religion kind of then puts you, there's a naughty
mm,
corner and there's a good corner. You kill
yeah,
someone, naughty corner. You do good, you're in the good corner. But if you remove that side, if I kill someone and take their food, ow, then
yeah.
I've done it. Do you know, like, oh, don't,
Mm,
doesn't change my life. Like if I kill the most wealthiest person's house and I live his life and I take over, it doesn't change my life. But the moment you add religion in that, that person will now be scared of doing that, which he feels
But
will
then
benefit
religion justifies that behavior to an extent, and that's what colonizers used as well. Colonizers and crusaders would find those loopholes within religion, specifically Christianity. I don't know about Islam,
No,
but
no, but I'm
they would
saying
use those.
let's not talk about the loopholes, because obviously
Mhm.
the loopholes will always, someone will always find a loophole, you know, in the Bible, whatever the case may be. But I'm just saying, when we just talk about that concept of the afterlife and all of that, and you're using that as your beacon,
Yeah,
when
that
you're introducing really, when, let's say when you're introducing religion and the concept of God, let's say you haven't established the Bible, like, and
mhm.
all its detail, you're just introducing the concept to the first people. Let's say the first people, you are saying, no guys, don't kill. If you kill a person, you won't go to heaven. Then the person will be like, but what's heaven? Then that's where you start explaining it. Okay, this is heaven. What? Then that person will be like, oh, we can't kill people. We won't go to heaven. You see, then that's the starting point. But then it develops over time, and then obviously it will have loopholes and all of those things. That's what I'm trying to bring across.
Yeah, that one, the religion part, honestly, it's there's no
It's a tough
winning
one.
there. It's a
It's
tough
a
one
tough.
because also I think it's also because we'll never really know the truth behind it, whether
Mm,
or not um, what's communicated through religion is actually true, whether it's false, what the intention behind it was in the first place, whether it was good or bad. We'll never really know. In all
mm,
honesty, all we do, we're sitting with it now. We see what it's doing now and how it's being used, and we see what it has done in the past, over the
mm.
years leading up to now. But as to yeah, it's a tough one. I just feel like the only thing I don't like is how some religious groups, specifically Christians, but they'll try and force it down your throat. So the moment you tell them that I know, like I'm not into, hey, they'll try and force. Jehovah's Witnesses are Western drug dealers because drug dealers don't even force you to take the drugs. If you want them, you know where to find them. Ah, but Jehovah's Witnesses will follow you. They'll
The
follow
only
you.
thing that always kills me is that apparently in the, well, let me not say it kills me, but I do find it funny is that apparently in the Jehovah Witness religion, there's a quota and of people who can reach heaven. And then it's like, but wouldn't the people have reached that quota by then? Like, imagine
let
now
me
you're in
tell you.
heaven, you groovering there, like, hey, substitution.
But funny enough, but funny enough, I've heard from a person who's part of the Jehovah's Witness. There is a quota, and the quota's already filled up.
So
Then
what's
what's
the
the point?
point? You see,
So,
there goes your purpose right out the window.
Right out the window. It's like I
because I
told
did,
you,
like, I
Christianity,
know
they are
he was
bad.
a friend. He was a friend that told me all of this. Like, no, it's already full. So I asked him that question. Then what's the point? And he couldn't answer. And I'm like,
Yeah.
your
He
whole
thinks you
church
can
is
do
like
substitute.
this
How
guy.
can
Like,
you do substitution, man?
there's
Now
no
you're kicking someone out.
substitution.
You're
It's
like,
like,
yeah,
hey,
your
it's
sin
my
was
time
bad,
now.
but this one what it was worse. When we let you in, but I come out.
Come out.
Your time
Like,
is over. When
yo.
again.
Hey. But guys, let's
You'll
wrap
see
that
your
one
number
up.
come out.
Thanks for the discussion. And yeah, to those who want to come at us for religion, we weren't here to bash anyone. We are just giving our useless opinions. Let me say that,
I
or
was here to
useless
bash.
views.
My opinion is worth 2 cents, please, ne? It's not
Yeah.
useless. It's worth 2 cents. It's not
Eh,
useless.
when they come for you, huh, I won't be there when they are outside your house. But hey, who cares when you say, ah, I believe uNkulunkulu.
I
You say,
didn't say I
ah,
don't
Well,
believe. No, no, no.
and it's
I
old
don't say I
ah,
ladies,
don't
bro.
believe. I
yeah.
And
didn't
the
say I
old
did
ladies
not
will come
believe.
kick you.
All I'm saying is that be careful what you say in the religious context. Hey, people will twist your words. People will twist
No,
your
Uh,
words. I'm telling you.
but
If
like
they let me put it to you this way: if people can stone Jesus, then who are you? Who are you?
they beat a man who cured the blind, bro. They don't care.
Who are you? Ah, who
yeah.
are you?
They killed
But anyway,
Usmagate. You are
Uh,
nothing. But
the guy who made you made and they killed the brewer even worse. Umuntu who
the
was making
original
chwala
brewer.
for they killed him.
the
I
original. The man that turned water to
ah
wine.
if people kill that person, then Baba, you must know that
Just a
I
quick one.
the people don't care.
Just a quick one while talking
Uh,
about that. There's this clip that I saw on social media. What if Jesus was like, if Jesus lived like now in our times, where he gets to a restaurant and there's like him and his disciples, and then now the guys are idiots, they laughing, kind of like us.
Yeah,
So, so Jesus orders water, like the waiter asks, okay, so what would you like to order? Then Jesus is like, I'll just have, and you know how people would laugh, like how us guys would
yeah,
laugh when you don't want to laugh, you know that
yeah,
kind of laughing. So, so Jesus just says, no, we'll have just a glass, like a jug of water. And then
yeah.
the guys just started laughing. So the waitress didn't understand why are these guys laughing. When she walks away, I just also just started laughing. So those who didn't get it, I shame. But it was actually fun.